This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
What up and welcome to Interview Style. Today we're talking about the problem I feel with movie depictions of intelligence. Iris probably saw this prompt and was like, what are you talking about? Iris, do you know what I'm talking about?
There were definitely quotes around intelligence, so I'm assuming maybe not so intelligent people, characters?
They're not particularly intelligent? Actually, that's not true at all. Because I rewatched The Edge, our discussion available at orwhatevermovies.com or wherever you get podcasts.
The Anthony Hopkins, Alec Baldwin movie?
Uh-huh. And so they have to use their wits to escape from the wild. You remember his assistant gives him a book at the beginning, How to Survive in the Woods?
Yeah.
And it's very convenient that he gets that book. And so you wonder about the plot and whether or not so-and-so maybe knew that he might be in a situation where he's in danger. Anyway.
Convenient, but not illogical.
He's generally regarded as the brains of the operation, and his knowledge will help them escape. His supermodel wife, Elle Macpherson, says Charles knows everything. You see him, see if you can't stump him. And he does know a lot of facts, the kind of stuff that you can get from a book entitled How to Survive in the Woods. But says something, it's like you're a genius or something, if somebody says, and he's like, no, it's not a genius, it's a freak. I seem to retain all these facts, but putting them to any real use is another matter. Obviously, he's a capable adult human, but it's not intelligence. Another example that I remember was Finding Forrester. Did you ever see that? That was the James Bond, Sean Connery, and the young black kid who searches the author Forrester out. He wants to write his own novel, and he's discriminated against, and people don't believe that Jamal can be a writer. And at one point, someone mentioned something about BMW, and Jamal says, well, they're an airplane company. And he says, no, BMW makes cars. And Jamal says, no, look, it shows the BMW logo, which is the circle with a cross in the middle, and half of the resulting triangles are white and half of them are blue. It's meant to evoke a propeller spinning against a blue sky. See, they built airplanes. And you're like, oh, look how smart he is. But that's not intelligence. That's memorization of trivia. And then I was thinking about Pulp Fiction, where John Travolta, which you've seen one time, John Travolta's Vince takes Mia, the Uma Thurman character, out for food. They go to that weird 50s themed bar where they sit in a car. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They got Buddy Holly for their server, and she says we should have gotten Marilyn Monroe's. Or he said we should have, I don't think Buddy Holly's much of a waiter. We should have gotten Marilyn Monroe. And Mia says, which one? There's 2 Monroes. And he says, no, there's not. That is Marilyn Monroe. That is Mamie Van Doren. And I don't see Jane Mansfield. She must have the night off or something. And Mia says, you're pretty smart. And he says, oh, I have my moments. And I think it's safe to say that Vince may have a moment or two of capability, not a smart gangster guy. And again, not intelligence. I'm curious about depictions of movie intelligence and your thoughts on this matter. Did you see movies like Limitless or Lucy?
What about movies like A Beautiful Mind?
See, that is the maybe more realistic depiction of intelligence because it's coupled, like I've often seen that genius is very closely coupled with illness. It's right on the verge. I don't know if Stephen Hawking is a good example.
Theory of everything?
The man, well, he's very, very smart, but he has real physical deficiencies in other areas. Einstein supposedly was super aloof and didn't bother retaining facts like the characters I've described. He didn't keep in his mind how many miles between this and this or whatever, because he said, I don't keep facts in my mind that I can easily look up in a book. His idea is more practice of theory.
Is Oppenheimer an intelligence movie?
I couldn't understand enough of Oppenheimer for the 70 millimeter presentation to know if that was a demonstration of realistic intelligence on screen. I should probably rewatch that.
With subtitles.
Yes. And not a drowned out mix.
You seem to be talking about movies that depict practical or applied intelligence. Maybe some might call them street smarts, as opposed to learned ivory tower scholarship intelligence.
I suppose, because in the streets you have to rely on that intelligence. It's not just like, look how smart I am at a party. I'm using quotes around smart, which you can't see. So I suppose in that way. But I mean, think about that movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. When she uses 100% of the functionality of her brain, she can then telekinetically lift stuff and like lift cars and move stuff around. That's not intelligence.
No, that's definitely a superpower. I did see Limitless because Bradley Cooper, and that I wouldn't say is intelligence either. It's more like, well, in the case of the Limitless allegory, a curse. Yes, he can see how things work, or did he have a premonition type ability? But any which way, it kind of cursed him, and it was also something that he got kind of addicted to in a substancey kind of way. Spoiler.
A Beautiful Mind, it was both a blessing and a curse, but I think the intelligence that I'm looking for is more than just book learning. And I'm thinking right now about Keating from Dead Poets Society, about how
the Robin Williams
wasn't a super old professor, but he was fun and he understood where these kids were in their lives, understood the need for Neil to explore his passions and to not let his dad put him down because his dad wanted him to be a doctor.
Our discussion for which is available at orwhatevermovies.com or wherever you get podcasts.
Understood that poetry is about passion and about love and about expression. Understood that you're not going to be around forever, that every one of us is going to die, and to use the limited time we have at our disposal. That seems to me like more practical intelligence, but it's quieter. And quieter, I don't think, translates to plot or movie magic or box office numbers.
So what is the problem with movie depictions of intelligence? Is it unrealistic? Does it feel too convenient?
I think in the world, intelligence is regarded as book learning and retention of facts. In movies, that's further distilled to basically trivia. The more stuff you know, the smarter you are. And sure, there's probably some level of intelligence required for vast memorization or stockpiles. It's like analytics, like Moneyball or movie trivia or baseball stats or basketball stats or whatever. You remember who was playing third base in the 1965 Yankees. Okay, but the application to your everyday life is a little bit more questionable. What use does that information have? Not to say that it's not fun and it doesn't fulfill you, but I don't know that you're smart because of it.
I'm sure we can dissect intelligence movies subgenres in a future interview style, but I think we've hit upon two different types in this discussion. One where intelligence, hyperintelligence, verges on a curse, is on the edge of insanity, and then the other where kind of practical applied intelligence maybe adds a little bit of character color, like in the case of Pulp Fiction, for example, but doesn't necessarily drive the narrative. It seems like in the examples you shared are kind of more likable or more understandable, but I don't find either of them to be problematic per se.
The other one I was thinking of was the John Travolta movie Phenomenon. Can't spoil that, but like Lucy, the smarter he gets, the more he can move stuff with his mind. or sense earthquakes before they happen because of micro vibrations. Again, not intelligence, regardless of how much of your brain lights up under a scan.
I guess we'll have to cover that in a future episode at orwhatevermovies or orwhatevermovies.com, wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah, be smart. Go watch all these movies, and we'll talk about it another time. Goodbye.
Hello, folks. Earl Breon here, host of the Responsible Leadership Podcast, part of the Best Business Network on Electricast. You're looking for a show to bring you some of the best leadership advice from some of the top thought leaders around the globe. This is the show for you. You can find us on all the podcast platforms of choice or on social media by following me, Earl Breon. B-R-E-O-N.
Electricast. Electricast.